Tonight on Joy News Prime, yet another police officer killed in the line of duty, bringing to 6 the lives lost in the last few weeks. President Akufo-Addo has meanwhile called for the police to work to regain the confidence of the public after observing a minute's silence for the slain officers.
I would respectfully invite you to be upstanding and observe a minute's silence in their memory and in recognition of their service to the police service and the state.
In the case of the missing Takoradi girls, the police CID says the results of the DNA analysis on the human remains retrieved from a well and cesspit some weeks ago in Takoradi should be made public very soon. Also, Bank of Ghana dismisses official it says took a bribe in the $1.1 billion sift and switch mobile money interoperability contract in 2016. I'm Arba Kumsin, and Joy News Prime comes to you live from the Joy News studio at Kokomimle here in Accra with digital address GA 0992539. Thanks for staying with us. Now, President Akufo-Addo on Friday observed a minute's silence in memory of the officers of the Ghana Police Service who have died in the line of duty in recent weeks. As many as 5 are known to have been killed, with the 2 MTTD officers killed at Budubirim being the latest, at least at the time the president called for the minute's silence. The gesture, according to the president, at the graduation ceremony of 376 officers of the police training school at Tesano, is in recognition of their service to the police service and general good of the Ghanaian people.
I must at the outset express my sincere condolences to the police service and to the families of the 5 officers who recently lost their lives in the line of duty. I would respectfully invite you to be upstanding and observe a minute's silence in their memory and in recognition of their service to the police service and the state. May their souls and the souls of all the faithful departed abide in the bosom of the Almighty until the last day of the resurrection, when we shall all meet again. Amen.
Now, we will bring you more from the president at Friday's graduation ceremony in a bit. Unfortunately, though, 1 more police officer has been killed, also in the line of duty, bringing the number to 6 in the last few weeks. Inspector Foster Amponsa, also of the police MTTD, was run over by a truck driver early Friday morning at Nantizongo on the Kintampo-Techiman Road. Our President Akufo-Addo at the graduation ceremony urged officers who graduated with the rank of Assistant Superintendent to maintain a high sense of discipline to gain the trust of the people.
While government does its utmost to equip, resource, and retool the police service, it is important that discipline prevails throughout the service. This is a charge I give the Acting Inspector General of Police and the entire police administration. Without discipline and effective supervision, winning public confidence and support to fight crime will remain an unattainable objective. The prevention of crime is a shared responsibility between the police and the public, and without mutual respect, confidence, and support, it will be extremely difficult to prevent and detect crime. As you know, and you may be aware, the police service continues to suffer from low public image due to the involvement of some police officers in corrupt practices. I urge you to join the fight against corruption in the service. It can no longer be the status quo. The citizenry can only have confidence in the police service when you are seen to be honest and prepared to enforce the law without fear or favor.
Well, he also announced the forensic unit of the police CID will be provided with a digital forensic laboratory to help fight crime with watertight intelligence, at least before the end of the year 2020. Crime officers will also be given monthly stipends to support their investigations.
Despite severe budgetary constraints, the Akufo-Addo government has, in 2.5 years in office, provided 568 vehicles, including 15 operational buses, to the service, a feat unprecedented in the history of the service. Indeed, many more are expected to arrive in the country in the next few months. When I took office in January 2017, the service had a total of 492 serviceable cars. Additionally, 320 housing units are being constructed at National Police Training School to reduce the accommodation deficit of the service. Modern communication equipment and 4,500 fragmentation jackets have been procured and delivered to the service to protect officers and ensure effective policing. Government has also secured 3 helicopters for the service, with the construction of hangars at the National Police Training School almost nearing completion. I'm happy to inform you that 6 officers are currently undergoing training in South Africa to become pilots for the helicopters and serve as the air wing of the police service. 30 horses have also been procured to assist the police in riot and crowd control, with a K9 unit made up of 30 dogs also in the offing. The recent establishment of the Police Intelligence Directorate is ensuring that police operations and investigations are increasingly being carried out on the basis of intelligence. The Criminal Investigation Department, CID, will, by the end of the year, be equipped with a digital forensic laboratory. And for the first time in the history of the department, crime officers are given a monthly allowance to support their investigations. We are retooling the CID Forensic Science Lab.
Now, the police is on a manhunt for assailants who shot and burnt 3 family members at Jiokpoko near Chokoli in the Ningo Prampram district of the Greater Accra region. According to the police, the victims, made up of a father, a mother and a 3-year-old son, were shot and burnt to death Thursday evening. Prampram Divisional Police Commander ACP Doji Loje revealed that initial investigations suggest the deceased was involved in a land dispute and could have been the cause for the assassination.
The bodies were in the pickup, but they were burned beyond recognition. You cannot identify anybody. You can only see meat in the car, roasted meat, excuse me, let me put it that way. But you cannot identify anybody. They were in the car, the pickup. They were shot. You can see spent cartridges here. They were shot, but the bodies were burnt, and you cannot recognize anybody. Yesterday, around 7 p.m., we received a telephone call from a caller who told us of the crime. So quickly, we proceed to the scene.
Well, a cousin of the deceased is, however, disputing claims the family was involved in land litigation.
Just me papa onu ne chiba oba neba enidia owuye no.
The deceased is my relative. We all live together here.
Enuna me to me yeden because he says
I am shocked anyone would want to kill him. We are all at a loss, and simply confused.
Be 8 something. And no more frame. I catch me say BBSU, your village news. Then they see your village news.
It's been 1 week since I returned here, only to be called last night that something had happened. Someone informed me that my uncle had been shot together with his wife and his son.
Yes, I know. I am she, and I'm a rush, she said, Maiden, my back, I bet you. Minyam to cano, we are afraid, now we are afraid, now we are afraid. Say,
I couldn't believe it, so I rushed to the scene, and here, the situation was true.
I am pa. Iti, aha, yeti, a busia, and I had a tianum. Iti, say, you see, assassin, aha, the assassin be a eden, and the Hanumuno, assassin without a con.
My uncle was never involved in any land litigations. Never.
Hanum, any assassin be a on you be a niasem.
Monte say or can't be say.
Yanti, you just say, or no, if you yes, you fee in the walk, sort of honeymoon. Any new year, any into what just say, my papa, all mind of share in eyes.
Now, an announcement is expected in the coming days of the outcome of DNA analysis conducted on human remains retrieved from a cesspit and well in Sekondi Takoradi in the Western region. The results mark a significant milestone in the case of the Takoradi girls who went missing between July and December last year, as it will determine whether the police will have to end or continue their search for the girls. At least one of the families of the missing girls early this week demanded an update on the DNA test after samples were taken from them. President Akufo-Addo at the graduating ceremony at Tessan on Friday stated the families are anxiously waiting for the outcome of the analysis.
Any police officer who breaks the law and abuses the freedoms and human rights of any member of society must not be spared and should be brought to face the full rigors of the law. In so saying, Ghanaians, especially the families of the 3 missing Takoradi girls and the recently discovered 4th person, are awaiting anxiously for news of their whereabouts from the police service. And I fervently hope the police service will respond soon.
Well, in a special edition of Ghana Police Watch aired on Joy News in the last hour, head of the police DNA laboratory conducting the analysis, Superintendent Dr. Kofi Afrifa, said the results will soon be made public.
Once we've been able to extract DNA, we can say that they are human beings, but we can pin it down to the girls, as it were. Right. We are yet to delve into the genetic analysis vis-a-vis the families whose DNA we took the last time around. And then based on that, we'll be able to draw a conclusion.
So the police told us that we should expect some results in 4 weeks. How close are we?
So we are close. The analysis will be completed very soon. We are close, very close.
So if it turns out to be a no, that the DNA do not match or does not match the alleged surviving relatives, what happens?
Yeah, so if it's a no, well, straight away go back to investigations. How come those remains were found there? The police will have to unravel whatever has gone on. Okay. And then, yeah, it basically goes back to the investigations to figure out what really happened, how come they were found. I believe in what we have done. We have competent men, officers, who are more than capable of doing cases like this. I just hope that whichever way it turns out, you know, just as Dr. Introdanso said, the whole nation accepts it, and then we take it up from there. But I've already indicated there's a chance of a second opinion. If anybody wants to, you can always verify that, because these results are reproducible, because the exhibit are still there. So they have the benefit of that. But as I indicated, I believe in what we have done. We have done the meticulous work. Right. We have checked and double-checked.
And you're still double-checking?
Still double-checking. We just want to be sure so that when we finally arrive at the results, then we know that we've done a yeoman's job.
Well, the Director and Dean of Academic Affairs at the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Dr. Vladimir Njudanso, who was also on the show, stressed the need for the country to be prepared for the outcome of the DNA analysis.
It will be a shock to the nation. In actual fact, the families are already grieving. Yeah. The whole nation is bleeding. And I strongly suspect that that will come as more kind of trauma. I believe the nation must find some kind of spirit in supporting the families, in making sure that the nation is healed, because it looks as though we have not had many of such situations. Yeah. And this is a situation which creates a big problem for the nation. The police have done their work very well. If it comes out, then I believe that they have done a good job. But then it is it's going to be traumatic for the whole nation now. And I believe the nation must find a way of resolving this issue. If we are able to find a yes to this, that these are the authentic bones of the missing girls, then we have not finished. We need to heal ourselves. We need to support the families. We need to disseminate this information to them in such a way that they will continue to grieve.
That is critical.
Yes.
I mean, the announcement, how it is put out.
Put out there. Very, very important. But I think we have professionals working in this country. At times.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has hinted government intends to issue a white paper on the Justice Commission report on the violence that marred a by-election. The Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election turned bloody as national security operatives clashed with supporters of the opposition APC, with a member of parliament assaulted in the process. The government asked former Shraj boss Justice Emil Short to lead a top-level 3-member commission to probe the matter. Here is a recall of events so far.
Multiple gunshots heard at the scene of an otherwise peaceful election. An MP was assaulted in the process. Masked gun-wielding men, believed to be part of the National Security Secretariat SWAT team, were accused of brutalizing innocent civilians. Government set up a commission to probe the matter, but contradictions and varied accounts would emerge.
Later, they also said they heard gunshots coming from within the compound of the house. Our boys then gave some 6 warning shots.
There were many, my lord.
Many?
If I'm not mistaken, they were holding them. If I'm not mistaken, it will be over 20 per what I saw.
Okay. And were you able to find out the source of these empty shells? Who had, fired these gunshots? The empty shells that you saw, were you able to detect?
I inquired, but the information they gave me was that they were fired by the task force team that came there.
I saw them point directly into the crowd, in the direction of the crowd, and fire.
So they fired the warning shot. This made them to retreat and started to run helter-skelter.
For the angle, I don't know for warning shot, but mostly once it's targeted at this one, for warning shot I think mostly it should be up. So once it's targeted at an object below the height of maybe a normal human being, then I don't see it as a warning shot.
And therefore you conclude that they were potentially aimed?
They were
not aimed at a tree, but aimed.
I may say so.
The commission concluded its work and submitted its report to the president on March 14. Article 283 of Ghana's constitution requires the president to cause a publication of the commission's report together with a white paper within 6 months. If the president decides not to do so, he must give reasons. For now, the scars of the violence still remain.
Somebody is over there now enjoying. Just shoot me. He wanted to shoot my life. I have a family. wife and children. Now business, anything is not going on. How should I go to look my family now? Once this committee is for justice, please, I want justice must be.
Well, President Akufo-Addo on Thursday hinted government will issue a white paper soon.
Multiple gunshots heard at the scene of an otherwise peaceful election. An MP was assaulted in the process. Masked gun-wielding men, believed to be part of the National Security Secretariat's SWAT team, were accused of brutalizing innocent civilians. Government set up a commission to probe the matter, but contradictions and varied accounts would emerge.
Later, they also said they heard gunshots coming from within the compound of the house. Our boys then gave some 6 warning shots.
We do apologize for that. We will bring you to the president's sound as and when we get it. But let's move on to other stories, because the Bank of Ghana has announced the dismissal of an official it says took a bribe in the award of a $1.1 billion contract to enable mobile money transactions between the various network operators in the country. The contract, which was originally awarded to Sifton Switch Systems in 2016, was eventually cancelled. Mobile money interoperability was eventually implemented by the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System, SCIPS, at a fraction of the initial contract sum. And the Bank of Ghana, in a statement released on Friday, said one of its officials engaged in corrupt transactions to favor the award of the contract to Sifton Switch. The said official, Gilbert Addy, has been dismissed. Joining me in the studio is head of the investigative desk here at Joy News, Malik Dabo, with details of the statement. Malik, so jog our memory, take us back. How did we get to this point? What are the details of this case? Give us a background.
Araba, we remember that in 2015, the government decided that the central bank decided that there was need for a system that would allow interoperability. And that simply means that at the time, we know that all the telecom companies had their own variants of mobile money. Right. So if you had Vodafone cash, it was difficult to transfer through mobile money. Or if you had Tigo cash or Airtel money at the time, that was before the consolidation of Airtel and Tigo. Now, what the central bank sought to do was to create a platform where you could transfer money from one platform to another. That's what they call interoperability. And also to allow for you, Araba, to transfer money from your bank account into your mobile money wallet. Right. You know that many of the banks have developed apps. Exactly. Now, when you have your bank app on your phone, at the time it was not possible to transfer money from your bank account directly into your mobile money wallet. The interoperability was meant to cure that problem. Exactly. Now, the central bank contracted this company, and of course, they engaged in tender, and the 3 companies bidded for this contract. Now, the 3 companies that bidded, one of them was Sifton Switch, the other one was Vars Intel Limited, and then the last one was Mericom Solutions Limited. Right. Now, if you look at the cost of each of them, Sifton Switch proposed to do this at a contract sum of 4,669,414,340 Ghana cedis. That's the cost at which they wanted to. So we round the figure as 4.6 billion or 4.7 billion. That's how much they wanted to do it. Okay. The bid that was submitted by Vars Intel was 14,094,000 Ghana cedis. Look at the vast difference between the two bids, and the last one was even lower. That one was 5,465,396. Okay. Now the government, the central bank at the time, selected Sifton Switch. Now when Sifton Switch was selected, the telecom company started raising red flags. They argued that they themselves have had systems that if they configured them, they would be able to do this inter-network transactions, and that there was no need to give this contract at this sum to this company to deliver a platform that they could do, because given the huge sums involved, the telecom operators were going to be compelled to transfer that cost to subscribers and consumers, and they believe that that was not going to be fair to them. So, but nonetheless, the contract had been awarded. Now enter a new government in 2017, led by Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and following the complaints by the Ghana Interbank Payments and Settlement System, GIBS, which is a subsidiary of the central bank, by the way. Bawumia at the time argued that GIBS, the purpose for which GIBS was created was to build this kind of platform. So why did they give this contract to another company when GIBS could do that? So he ordered that the contract should be assessed and cancelled if possible, and then GIBS should be allowed to do that. And that was what happened. So GIBS did the work, and Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia himself said that that was done at a cost less than $4 million.
Wow, so we saved some millions there. But Malik, how did the bank detect Mr. Gilbert Addy's involvement in this matter, for which reason he's been dismissed now?
Well, so you know that when that contract was cancelled, Sipton Switch then went to a London court of arbitration and then placed an order for arbitration. So they started the arbitration. Now, Central Bank got a lawyer in London who, as part of preparation to defend the Central Bank in this arbitral decision, the arbitration case, came to Ghana on 2 occasions, last year and this year. He came to Ghana in August last year and in May this year. The purpose of those visits were to assemble all the facts that they needed, interview all the people that needed to be interviewed, collect all the evidence that was necessary in order to be able to put up a robust defense of the central bank's case against Sipton Switch. Now, in the course of those interviews and the collection of evidence, this lawyer found out that this money had been paid to Gilbert Addy, who was a project manager of
on the project
of this project. And how they found this was that they looked at emails, and according to the statement which was issued by the central bank, Gilbert had actually deleted some of these statements, but they had to go through a backup system to recall those emails, and they found out that some 410,000 Ghana cedis had been paid to him. There was a contract, they called it a sham contract, that was signed between Sipton Switch, and it's a shell company, a shell company that was signed, and Gilbert Addy is a director of this shell company. And this shell company is GBD Trust Limited. That's a company that he formed. He's a director of. That company was also to be paid some $500,000 under this arrangement. The central bank believes that all of that money constituted bribe for him to look away, because they do not think that there was a justifiable explanation why the 2 other companies that bidded for this contract quoted lower sums, and yet Sipton Switch was selected. The bank actually insinuates that there was intense pressure from the top of the central bank and elsewhere, which is what forced Gilbert Addy to take this decision, and also motivated by the bribe that he himself had received. That was why they gave.
Interestingly, it also indicates that the corrupt payments were also concealed from IOCO during their initial investigations into the Sipton Switch contract in 2017. But Malik, as you indicated, this matter has come up before the arbitration at the International Dispute Resolution Center in London. Where are we with that now?
Well, so the central bank says that where the case is now is that it's been suspended, and it's been suspended because some arbitral award was given to Sipton Switch to submit, to securitize the deliberations, and they've not been able to do that. To that extent, the case has been suspended. They are waiting. If Sipton Switch is able to fulfill that obligation, then the proceedings will continue. But the central bank gives assurance that it will robustly defend this matter, and it is confident that judgment will be given in favor of the central bank.
All right, many thanks. Malik Dabo is head of our investigative desk here at Joy News, bringing us those details. And the news is that the Bank of Ghana has dismissed one of its officials, Gilbert Addy, for corruption in the case of the Sipton Switch Systems Limited contract of 2016. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the National Cardiothoracic Center is advising Ghanaians to embrace better lifestyle habits for continuing optimum health, Speaking at the launch of World Heart Day in Accra, head of cardiology at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Abdul Samed Tanko, said food intake is a major contributor to cardiac arrest risks. Dr. Tanko cautioned the public against alcohol, smoking, and excessive fatty foods. He further described stinking fish, known popularly as momoni, and salted tilapia or kobe as dangerous for one's health and has to be taken in moderation.
Excessive alcohol can cause liver to derange. Apart from that, can cause your heart to be enlarged, to be huge. So we should really work and then fight against some of these risk factors. Smoking. Now people know me, I don't smoke, but I do shisha. It's worse. It's 5 times worse. Smoking shisha than even smoking tobacco. That doesn't mean that tobacco is not also bad. They are all very bad. So we should educate people. We should always accept findings about our health. Because if you do not, then by the time you realize you have a 35-year-old with a kidney failure that will require dialysis. I've seen young people, early 20s, mid-30s, with kidney failure. Do you know why? Because they have blood pressure, they disregard it, or they are in denial, or not compliant. And these are some of the things that we should work and then into. And I mentioned excessive salt intake. We put so much salt in our foods, so much salt. And then those were the momonis and the kobis, excessive salt inside. So we should, at least in moderation, cut down on salt intake.
Speaking at the same event, Dr. Tanko warned the youth against health complacency. According to him, people of all ages are vulnerable to the risk of heart disease, and there's a need for the public to be more conscious about their health.
It's not kids' play. It's serious. Strokes due to hypertension. And people, another caution is, don't say I am young. BP cannot get me. No, we have people as young as 20. It's not curable, unless, of course, there are some few cases of secondary hypertension caused by something that can be handled. But on the whole, over 70% of blood pressure is essential. You cannot say you are treating it. You can only manage it. So it's not like typhoid, they are giving 7 days medication, it's over, 14 days, it's over. You should really talk to the youth that they shouldn't take it for granted that they are young, they can. And the other issue is when even they accept, they say, oh, the medication will give me, I'll not be able to perform. How do you perform when you are sick?
Now, the Greater Accra Region chapter of the Ghana National Association of Teachers is demanding the immediate resignation of Philippa Larson, who is president of the national body, claiming she is not working in the interest of the association. This comes after executives of the National Association declared a strike embarked on by the 6 regional executives on Tuesday as illegal. Henry Kwesi Bedu was at Friday's press conference. Here is his report read to you.
The 6th regional chairman of the Ghana National Association of Teachers on Monday, in a joint statement, embarked on a sit-down strike as they outlined 10 challenges confronting their members, top on the list being the non-payment of salary arrears. On Tuesday, the national body in a press conference declared the strike as illegal, adding the identities of a regional chairman are unknown.
We have our structures and the way we do our things. For example, I sit here, but I don't have the power to even declare strike without reference to the National Executive Committee. It is made up of members across the whole country and have to justify before them why we need to embark on a strike. In the same vein, it is incumbent on those regional chairmen to have had the mandate of the regional executive committee on the issues that they have raised and then bring them to the national platform for the national to take a decision. So like my president said, we are even at a loss as to whether these people are genuinely the regional chairman that they propose to be. Because if there's anything, they ought to have been here to discuss with us and find a way forward.
This has since generated unrest within the teacher union. The Greater Accra chapter of the Teacher Association says it is solidly behind the 6 regional chairmen and want the President, Philip Alassen, and General Secretary, David Ofori Champong of the national body to resign with immediate effect. Ferguson Abeku is a member.
They have, let me say, disgraced themselves for such a position taken against our regional chairman and their followers. You know, you disown our regional chairman. It means myself, a district chairman, and a national council member, you have disowned me as well because I have elected the regional chairman. So they have not only not done their work well for the union to grow, but they have disgraced themselves as well for such a statement they have made. Thank you very much.
Do you want them out?
Oh, seriously? How can such a person be lead or such people be leading the association? We have given them, we've been so patient with them. We restrain ourselves so much. We didn't want to do anything. You know, there are a lot of things, even our membership are not happy with us because we have not been able to open up to them certain things we have done, and these people have frustrated it. You understand? So they are not even happy with us, that we've been able to be patient and restrain ourselves up to this time. And so the time has come. It's now ripe. This is the due time. I think God's own appointed time for these people to be out of the leadership, the apex leadership of the association.
They are further threatened to pass a vote of no confidence against the President and her General Secretary if they fail to heed their calls. Henry Kwesi reports for Joy News.
Meanwhile, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, on Friday called off their strike, their industrial action. A statement by the association reads, the leadership of the National Association of Graduate Teachers would like to announce to all teachers and the general public that from today, 13 September 2019, it has called off its strike. We thank the Minister for Education, the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, the National Labour Commission, and the Ghana Education Service for their interventions to address the challenges that necessitated the industrial action. We applaud all our teachers for their steadfastness in standing for what is right. Long live NAGRAT Solidarity forever. And that statement is signed by President of the Association, Angel Carbonu, General Secretary Samuel Frank Dazi, as well as other executives. Now let's go to the Volta region, where residents of Duta in the Ketu South municipality do not have access to potable water, electricity and healthcare. The residents, who feel neglected by successive governments, have vowed not to participate in the 2020 general elections if the situation remains unchanged. Joy News' Fred Kwame Asare visited Duta and has come through with this report.
The community of Duta is close to Aflao, situated on the southeastern part of the Ghana-Togo border and estimated to have a population of about 15,000. Residents are predominantly farmers and petty traders. They rely on wells and other unclean water sources for domestic use. These water sources dry up during the Harmattan season, leading to recurrent water crisis. Member of Parliament for Ketu South, Fifi Fiavi Kwete, provided a well which hasn't totally solved the problem.
We go to Togo to fetch water during the dry season. They sometimes chase us away. It's time for elections and the politicians are deceiving us again. We are fortunate to get water to drink these days because it is raining. All our boreholes produce salty water. Our children don't bath well before going to school.
Another challenge is the lack of electricity. According to residents, a project began years ago to connect Duta to the national grid has stalled. Some parts still remain in darkness as electricity poles for the extension works decay on the floor. Some people have resorted to illegal connections.
Don't we
deserve development as well? How do they expect us to get electricity? Do they want us to fix the poles ourselves? There'll be no election in Bhutan in 2020 if they do not get us electricity. Due to the unavailability of electricity in the area, a completed health center, Azueme, has turned into a white elephant. According to residents, health personnel have refused to work at the center. It has since become a habitat for some residents. Evans Zuta is a member of a unit committee. The health facility was completed about 4 years ago, but not operating because there's no electricity. Some equipment have been stolen. We are pleading with government to connect us to the national grid. Ketu South Municipal Chief Executive Elliot Agbenawu refuted the allegation of neglect and indicated that construction work is ongoing on the facility in Gakli to bring healthcare closer to the residents.
There is also a Ministry of Energy project that is supposed to go on there. It has delayed, but when I came, I quickly had to work on it, and I can say that I have transformers right now sitting at the assembly waiting for samples for them to mount it for them, and I think when that is done, it will ease the illegal connection in terms of electricity. Per the government's guideline for the $1 million per constituency, we are receiving 5 million Ghana cedis, and we have allocated about 500,000 for water so that we can extend the coverage of water. And so what we intend to do is to dig this, what we call the deep well, where we can get good water so we can extend it. For instance, in the Duta community, we have about Fio Copper without water. The Duta itself is no water. Kologa, Gakli is no water. In a couple of months, we're going to spread projects per government's directive in line with the $5 million that 5 million Ghana cedis that we are receiving for 2020.
Fred Kwame Asari's report for Joy News.
Now, Ghana's high unemployment numbers are being blamed on neglect of technical and vocational education and training. Industry players say over-concentration on social sciences at the expense of entrepreneurial and artisanal training limits the edge of graduates to start and own businesses. Executive Director of Council for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, Dr. Fred Che Asamoah, says it is time to make TVET education critical. He said this during a TVET advocacy committee meeting held in Kumasi. Prince Apia has more in this report.
The government introduced the competency-based teaching module in the technical and vocational education system. It was meant to train the hand alongside the mind to make students more artisanal. The initiative was, however, truncated with a change of government in 2017. Chairman of the Advocacy Committee for TVET, Professor Ransford Jampo, is worried this fell apart.
Of the caliber of people we are churning out like printing press every year through the educational system are trainings that produce scholars in the areas of the humanities. And that is what we are doing. So you ask yourself, what sort of upside down thinking continue to plague us as a nation? Is it that our leaders don't know? Is it that they know, but because we don't know, they want to fool us like they've always been doing? But over the years, I've seen that we spent a lot of time pouring water on stones, as if we are training, we are educated. The more we educate, the poorer we become, because we are educating and putting all our emphasis and focus on the direction that requires just about 5% of our concentration. So you are a graduate, so what? You have PhD, so what? We can't fix anything. We don't know anything. We have failed as a nation. And the earlier we appreciate and recognize the fact that we have failed, and to get our loans, and to demand that we all focus on TVET, the better for us.
It's a TVET consultant and a member of the VTF program's advocacy team. Engineer Dr. Stephen Texan is worried government has done little in the area of technical and vocational education.
World Bank, at 80% worldwide activities is in TVET. So if you focus on all your resources and your strategies on the 20%, you are creating unemployment by default. When you should focus it on the 80% that are in TVET. But now we should have more technical schools, more vocational schools, resourced, equipped, and then we'll solve our problem. Because if the youth are attracted to TVET, and they know that when they come to TVET, they have the skill, they can use their hands, and to solve their unemployment situation, they will come.
Engineer Dr. Texan believes advocacy and strategy to compel successive government to stick to this type of training is a way to go in creating jobs.
So if we had really focused on that and radically transformed TVET, we should have transformed our country. By now we should be far, far away, just like what Malaysia, South Koreans have reached. But I believe that if we are consistently advocating for it, then whatever change of government and we advocate and we push them, it should drive our economy.
The advocacy committee has therefore met with stakeholders across the country in Kumasi on how to advocate for a better attention. Prince Apia reporting.
And that's how we wrap it up. For Joy News Prime, I'm Arbor Crimson on behalf of everybody on the production team. Have a good night.